I don't like cliches. I think they're tired. I think they're uninformative. I think they're lazy. I don't like them. I try to avoid them. At times, they can just come out. But I try to avoid cliches if possible. One of the most overused and incorrectly used cliches in all of sports is the term must win. It's overused. Oftentimes, you hear, is this a must win? I was listening to a Cubs podcast in August, and the question was posed, is this a must-win game? Of course it's not a must-win game in Major League Baseball in August. It's not. It's overused. This game for LSU on Saturday is a must-win. It is. Now, there are plenty of you that are driving around listening to me live, that'll tune into this on YouTube or catch us on demand pregame, who would say, this team can't run the table. They're not going to Tuscaloosa and winning. They probably can't keep up with Arkansas, score enough points. They're not going to Norman, Oklahoma and winning. It's just a matter of time before the championship dream is dead, before the playoff dream is dead. Who cares? There are plenty of you that are probably saying that. But the fact of the matter is that they're not dead until they are. And if you lose Texas A&M, you're dead. And that makes this a must-win game for LSU. That pressure does not exist on the other sideline Saturday night. Texas A&M has put itself in position with some wiggle room. They're 7-0. You figure 10-2 is enough to get in. You lose a game on Saturday night, you still got one to play with probably. LSU has run out of rope. You got 2 losses. You went to Oxford and didn't get done. You went to Nashville, you didn't get it done. So, if you want to keep living this dream, which everybody was talking about preseason, Brian Kelly, SEC Media Days, Garrett Nussmeier in his return video, Josh Thompson to the media. This was the stated goal. Get into the playoff, compete for a national championship. And you may think that's silly, and that's fine, but we'll just deal in the realities as opposed to hypotheticals, which is the rest of the season. The reality is that LSU has 2 losses and can't afford a third. So this game on Saturday night is a must-win for LSU. We talked about a lot of the different matchups in this game. I highlighted LSU's issues at tackle, which we'll get to in a little bit because there's been a change made with Karius Kern. Talked about that against A&M's pass rush, which has been very, very good. Cash Sowell's been excellent on the edge, and you're going to have to deal with that with the true freshman left tackle and a right tackle who's taking his lumps. Talked about it. Talked about Texas A&M's elite wide receivers, Casey Concepcion, Mario Craver, going against Mansour Delane, P.J. Woodland, DJ Pickett. That LSU secondary, that is good on good. That's going to be some good stuff on the outside on Saturday night. Talked about it. We're going to talk about the quarterbacks coming up because it's a big night for them. But I also point to one spot on the field that I think is incredibly crucial in this game if LSU is to have a chance to spring a small upset on Saturday night in terms of the Vegas number. That is this Texas A&M offensive line. You've got Trey Zunn at left tackle, Chase Basantis, who is, I believe, in year 426 at Texas A&M. He's at left guard. You got Mark Nebu Jr. at center. Armaj Reed Adams at right guard. Demetrius Crownover is at right tackle. It's a veteran group. Entering this season, they had 161 career starts. That was 5th most among all FBS schools. And A&M has leaned on this group hard through the first 2 months of the season. This is a team that is one of just 5 FBS offenses that's in the top 30 in total yards, passing efficiency, rushing, scoring, and time of possession. They are the leader in the FBS in fewest tackles per loss allowed per game. They only allow 2.7 TFLs per game. If you look at Pro Football Focus, another metric here. It's an A&M offensive line that's got a 92.7 pass block efficiency rating. That's 9th in the Power 4. This is a very, very, very good and big group. They average 323 pounds up front. And if LSU is going to win this football game, you've got to match them. You don't have to dominate them. I'm not suggesting that LSU is going to go out there and get 9 TFLs against a team that averages 3. I'm not saying that LSU is going to go back there and roll up 5 sacks. We haven't seen this LSU pass rush be very good, quite frankly. They've been okay sending some blitzes and getting home there or getting into the backfield. They didn't get Diego Pavia on the ground last week, but they got back there. But you got to hold your own. And last week, against a unique Vanderbilt offensive line, that's another word that's overused and improperly used all the time, but there's not a line exactly like Vanderbilt's that switches sides and has that type of offensive personality and has that kind of maturity. Against those guys, LSU did a good job with the traditional, and I use air quotes there, run game in terms of just handing the ball off to the tailback. Vanderbilt didn't run for a ton. They broke one late, but a lot of Vanderbilt's running was done with Pavia off script, some awkward plays that ended up hurting LSU. But when you just handed the ball off, LSU was pretty good straight ahead, and they've been that all year. Clemson gave up on the run. Florida could not run the ball on LSU. These are worse teams than Texas A&M. But you look at that defensive front that you think is getting Jamari Butler back, that hopefully gets Bernard Gooden back. It's got Jacobian Guillory, Ahmad Bro, Don McKinley, Jack Pyburn, who's really good against the run, Patrick Payton. They have got to, in front of that linebacking group that does not have Whit Weeks, you've got to hold up your end of the bargain. You've got to force a couple negative plays. You've got to get a couple short yardage stops. You cannot allow Texas A&M's offense to get rolling on the ground, because if it does, you saw that last year, it's a nightmare. This is a team that wants to line up and run the football. And they can. They absolutely ran all over the Auburn Tigers. Just absolutely torched them on the ground. And that's what they want to do. That's what Mike Elko, that's what Colin Klein wants to do. Wasn't the prettiest thing in the world, but they got it done. Now, Le'Veon Moss played for them in that game. He's not going to play in this game. And he had 139 yards, but A&M ran it 47 times in that game. 47 times. Reuben Owens ended up breaking off a 33-yarder. Le'Veon Moss broke off a 38-yarder. Marcel Reed ran for 12. He got sacked a couple times, but they want to focus on the running game. And if you don't take that away, they're just going to keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. You look at them against Arkansas last week. 217 yards on 6.2 carries. A&M has different ways to beat you. They want to shoot out in South Bend. They want to shoot out in Fayetteville. They want to rock fight against Auburn. They have the versatility. But where it starts for them is on the ground. And I'll take my chances with LSU's DBs if that's what A&M is going to have to go beat to win the game. There aren't a lot of people with a ton of confidence in this town right now. I get it. I'll make my pick at the end of the game. At the end of the show. If I make the pick at the end of the game, I'll probably get it right. At the end of the show, I'll give my pick. But if A&M does get the ground game going, I can promise you LSU won't win the game. And if A&M doesn't get the ground game going, I promise you LSU will have a chance to win the game. I think it is a crucial spot in this game because of the personality of A&M. And theoretically, you look at LSU on paper, you look at what they are physically, you look at their maturity and their depth up front, outside of missing Whit Weeks, like, you should have a chance. This is not going to be like last year where LSU was really taken off guard by the fact that Marcel Reed was in the game. LSU was taken off guard by that, and they had no plan for it, and that was a huge mistake. They'll be ready for him this time around. And if you're saying to me that A&M has a menu of options, which I would suggest they do, I'm going to try to force them to choose throwing the football. And look, Marcel Reed threw for 300 in South Bend. Made the play on fourth down when he had to. Got help from an obvious hold that wasn't called. Oh well. It's the official's job. But he made the plays when it counted on the road. You have to look at this Texas A&M offensive front, the Maroon Goons as they're called. You got to stare them down and hold your own. Doesn't have to be completely dominant. A&M's going to run the ball a lot, and they'll probably get some yards. But you cannot let them crack 200 yards rushing and get the ball rolling downhill. Force them into some 2nd and 10s, force them into some 3rd and 9s, and take your chances with probably the strength of your team right now, which is your corners. That's where I am. Casey Concepcion, Mario Craver, they might get you. I certainly would not shut the door on that. But what you've got to do is make sure that that's what A&M has to do. Because if you give them the easy way out, they're going to take it. and they're very capable there. So, to me, the running game, big spot in this game. LSU's held its own there all year long, outside of some wonky stuff in Nashville. This is not an A&M team that wants to run the same tempo as Ole Miss, but they're going to have some quarterback run, and they're going to hand the football off. You got to hold your own at the point of attack if you're LSU. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.